Welcome to Area DMG.
Welcome back to Area DMG. I am your host, Phil Busley, the Mile High Mouth, and today we're just going to go over some quick newsity and a little bit about the Nintendo Direct coming out tomorrow, or by the time you see this video today. This video will likely be out there like a few hours before it, hopefully, several hours before it. Anyways, it's the on February 17th, 2021, there will be a full general Nintendo Direct. It'll be about 50 minutes long. There's going to be some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate news and a focus on a couple of the other games coming forward for like the first part of 2021. This will be the first Nintendo Direct since September 4th, 2019. There have been smaller ones, like the smaller General Directs, like they had that specific one that was kind of just for like Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary. They had the one for Monster Hunter. They had several different smaller ones and partner showcases, but this will be the first General Direct in a while. It's been about a year. This will be about 50 minutes long and cover stuff coming in around like, well, near the end of February, March, April, May, June, July, pretty much. We might hear some stuff into August or September, if anything. Like we'll get some stuff that's reaffirmed as still being 2021 or like fall or winter 2021. But we expect that this will be the first. This will be the one that we get before E3 this year. Now, there's going to be a digital event for E3 this year again. Jeff Keighley or something is doing something like that. So if you're gonna watch that, fine. I watched like the little showcase they had last year, which was a bunch of different little smaller companies, and then there was the wholesome direct from a bunch of smaller companies too that put out like the companies that made stuff like Calico or Monaco's Night Garden and stuff like that. What I expect to see though at this particular direct, we don't know much about it, although there are some games that are rumored to show up. There's like that Star Wars game they got leaked. Resident Evil Revelations 3, possibly. A couple other things. I think we might see, if I'm going to be perfectly honest here, I think we're probably going to see like, first thing out of the bat, we're probably going to see the Super Smash Brothers character. I know a lot of people are saying it'll probably be Dante from Devil May Cry, which really, probably, hopefully not. Or Ryo Hayabusa from like Ninja Gaiden, which I'm also like, really? Has that character been relevant in a while? But seriously, the most people are thinking it's probably just gonna be like Crash Bandicoot because Crash Bandicoot 4 is making its way to the Switch next month. But I'm still kind of holding out for like holding out hope that one of the last three characters that they announced will be either Lara Croft or Shantae. Personally, I feel like Lara Croft should be in Super Smash Brothers because we don't have a lot of characters with like gunplay. Essentially, I mean, we have Bayonetta, but very little left in comparison to ones that use swords and such. And I would say that Lara Croft is a bit more iconic than well, she's like pretty much one of the largest characters franchises in that thing. And it'd be kind of nice to get like Tomb Raider, like the remake one, the 2016 one, and then like one of the other ones like I'm trying to remember what the other ones. There's like Shadow something or other. There's that little trilogy, that new trilogy. I suspect we'll probably see that on the Switch. Hopefully, we won't see it in the way that we see Control or Hitman 3 on the Switch, because I kind of feel like that one the Tomb Raider reboot is something that we could probably get natively on the Switch, especially if we get something like from Panic Button with it. But my expectations for this one are, well, there's actually only a couple things I want to see. I suspect that they're going to announce the character, then announce for Smash Brothers, then announce that there's going to be a more in-depth look at that character at another time. We're going to get maybe an announcement of a Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary direct separate from this, but get like one or two announcements from like Legend of Zelda wise at this direct. Been a lot of rumors going around of like Phantom Hourglass or Wind Waker, or what was the other one? Spirit Tracks getting ported over to the Nintendo Switch, and I'm just like, I mean, it'd be kind of nice to see those kind of updated, made a little bit better with like less with like a different control scheme or so. But I kind of take a lot of these with a grain of salt. My take on it would likely be that we're likely, if we see like a Legend of Zelda game there that gets released before or announced before June or July, it'll likely be Twilight Princess, mainly because it's already out on the Switch in China. So, seriously, the only thing is that for some bizarro reason, Chinese games are not universal like the rest of everyone. Like you can go into Japan or anywhere in Europe, purchase a game from there, and play it on your American Nintendo Switch perfectly fine, region free, but not so much in China. And I think the reason for that mainly is censorship, because China's a bit of a closed garden to everything except for exports. So importing stuff into China has like it's kind of funny. It's like they have their own cultural tariffs on American goods or goods from outside of China, specifically stuff outside from there from Japan. You have the whole IQ situation. Anyways, looking at this particular direct, it's gonna be about 50 minutes long. I suspect that we're going to get a trailer for the new Smash Brothers character, and then an announcement of a further in-depth look at that later on. If they cram the entire in-depth look at the character into there, then that would eat up about 20 minutes of this 50-minute long Nintendo Direct, and that would be, I think, a little disappointing. I do expect to see another Nintendo Direct in terms of the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary. But generally, the big things I'm looking for are I want either Lara Croft or Shantae for Smash, and then I want a release date for Silk Song, which is the sequel to Hollow Knight. That'll be kind of interesting. I am looking forward to seeing. I'm expecting them to announce that one for like maybe a March release digitally, and then an April or May release physically. Because I do feel like that one, like the previous Hollow Knight, will get a physical release, but unlike the previous game, will not take forever to get to it. So I suspect we'll see that one. We may get a couple more in-depth mechanics and a new demo for Monster Hunter Rise. I do suspect we might see a little bit more and maybe a demo for Shin Megami the Tensei Digital Devil Saga, like the one that's being re-released. We'll get like a US release date for that. I'm expecting that in May. And now I'm just going to kind of get into like the ridiculous stuff. Here's the things that, if it were up to me, this is kind of how this would go. One, we would get like Shantae for Smash, because she's already a spirit in there, and we've had characters that were spirits in there before actually become become characters in it. Like you can look at like a Min Min from ARMS for that. But I would like to see. If it's up to me, I'd like to see that, and then see Shantae, and then a release of the original Shantae game for the Game Boy Color game for the Nintendo Switch, because that was announced last year along with Extreme Sports. In fact, what's weird about it is through limited run we were able to order in a physical copy of the Game Boy Color re-release of Shantae for the Nintendo Switch before an actual digital release date for it was ever announced. They did announce they were going to do something with Extreme Sports, and they never launched that. I do suspect that while it hasn't been announced for the United States, I do suspect that we might see a few more things put out there. Like I'm expecting them to add Game Boy games to Nintendo Switch Online. And also, like in the little like they'll definitely have like a third-party role or whatnot. I expect to see Terra Trilogy, Monaco's Night Market. I also expect to see Match of the Millennium in there, the one for the for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, since that's coming out in Japan on like later this month, but doesn't have a release date for the US later this month. So hopefully we'll get that one before the end of it. I'm thinking for Shadow Drops, we might get something small, like maybe something in the Pushmo series. Although it would be kind of weird if we got like say Harmonite or a Sakura Samurai, because those were kind of smaller 3DS games, along with say Dylan's Rolling Western, where they kind of would be ripe for like upporting to Nintendo Switch because they've already got that nice little portable architecture. So you've got these established ones with multiple games in them. For example, Dylan's Rolling Western has like 3 games on the Nintendo 3DS. They're exclusive to Nintendo 3DS, and it's weird tower defense style stuff would probably work pretty well. Some of the other stuff that's already been kind of leaked already was like there was that Star Wars game. Aspire usually puts those out in multiples, so we might see 1 or 2 more. Personally, it'd be kind of cool if they re-released like those little Super Nintendo ones, but separately for sale, like they did on the PlayStation. There's a couple little things I'd like to see from that. The other one that was kind of leaked was Plants vs Zombies, which surprised me that the original one's not on the Nintendo Switch yet. We don't need Plants vs Zombies 2. That was terrible. Garden Warfare wouldn't be too bad, but it's really more or less that now, now that we've got the proper infrastructure for Nintendo Switch Online, that makes more sense at that point. There's still people saying that we might see like a Grand Theft Auto game. I don't. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out like almost a decade ago or so, literally. It was out on the PS3. That's how old that particular game is. It'd be interesting to see if they put it out on the Switch. I'm not gonna hold my breath for that. It's not really like the stuff that I really really want for that. I do expect them to address some of the big kind of elephants in the room, like the anniversaries for Metroid and the anniversary for Donkey Kong. Now, the only Donkey Kong game that's missing essentially from the Nintendo Switch currently is like we have the old arcade Donkey Kong, we have the NES ones, we have the arcade versions of Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong 3. We have Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 on the Nintendo Switch Online. The ones that we're missing would be the Game Boy ones if they decide to bring over the Game Boy ones, like Donkey Kong Land, Donkey Kong Land 2, Donkey Kong Land 3, and Donkey Kong 94. The one that we're really kind of missing from that, and it wouldn't be too bad if they decide to put out, like, say, as a $30 release, would be Donkey Kong Country Returns. That was the one that was on the Wii, and it's kind of ripe for a remaster, especially considering that it'd be kind of nice to see how that one looks in HD, and it'd give retro something to do, or something they might have been working on this last year as like a side project in the meantime. I don't expect to see too much in the way of stuff for Donkey Kong. Maybe a Donkey Kong Country Returns Deluxe, or maybe a Donkey Kong Country Returns 3, but not much in that. For Metroid Prime, I mean, Metroid Prime Trilogy. If all the sources are to be believed, was done in 2019, and it's just been sitting there. So that would make like a decent little stopgap sometime in June. Maybe we might get a new trailer for Metroid Prime 4, but I don't expect to see Metroid Prime 4 until 2022. At the most, we'll see like winter 2021, just kind of like a little teaser for that. Just to let people know it's still coming, but I expect to see it in January, February 2022. But for The Legend of Zelda, what I'd really like to see, I mean, a lot of people were saying like, they were talking about like Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks and Wind Waker. Personally, I still want that Twilight Princess one, but if they're going to do something new, like some type of neat little remaster, what I'd really like to see is a remaster similar to the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake, but centered on Link to the Past, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. Now, what people forget is that some of these games are related to each other, like in the same timeline, like one after another. The Link in Link to the Past is the same one that's in Link's Awakening and in Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. The basic idea is that Link to the Past, after Link to the Past, Link goes to hone his skills and discover new things. That's where Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons technically take place, and then you have Link's Awakening. So Since those are part of that chronology, it would actually make sense for them to re-release those ones in kind of the same style as Link's Awakening, and that would be greatly appreciated. That's pretty much my take on it. I'm hoping my big things are I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I'd like Shantae or Lara Croft in Smash, but if we end up with like Crash Bandicoot in Smash, that's fine too. I've kind of like there's the fact that Shantae, who should be like the indie rep for indie games. I mean, we had like you have Shovel Knight as a summon. We had Commander Video as a trophy at one point. It's nice to see that little bit of acknowledgement of the independent scene, but having spirits for Shantae and Risky Boots in the most recent Smash Brothers is kind of like a really high honor, especially considering that if you look back at the old um, articles and interviews with Way Forward, after that was kind of like, oh yeah, she's a spirit in there. They did mention that Sakurai did go to their office and did visit them, and they did get music samples and other composition notes. So there's still that. I mean, worst case scenario, they might make a costume for her, or she'll just stay a spirit. But there's always that little bit there, considering that Nintendo went out of their way to visit Way Forward at their offices in the U.S. back in 2019. So a lot of the we do know that a lot of the Nintendo Super Smash Brothers Ultimate fighters for the second fighter pass have already been picked, and there's only 3 left. So that kind of makes sense that they'd be working on that for a while. If that happens, I would really like it if it happens, but not going to get my hopes up on that too much. It would be really great because like, oof, we also need like some release dates for the other amiibo, considering that the amiibos for like Banjo Kazooie and Terry and Joker are coming up. Wait, no, Joker's already out. We got that Joker when there's like Terry Bogard, Banjo Kazooie, and I'm trying to remember um, the other one that was announced. Oh, Byleth. Yeah, and we are supposed to be getting like with Fighters Pass 2, we're supposed to be getting like Steve and Sephiroth and Min Min, and goodness knows what else they decide to do. But yeah, those last 3, I'm kind of like, part of me wants to be really hopeful about it, but the other part of me is like, eh. I mean, I knew Gino wasn't going to get in there because, honest to goodness, everyone asking for Gino, it's like they didn't play Super Mario RPG, and that's why they still like Gino as a character. It's like, oh, he was in this game that's really kind of difficult to find because Nintendo didn't put it on Nintendo Switch Online, and it barely came to Virtual Console. It is on the little Nintendo NES the Super NES Classic, but you know how hard those are to get these days. Anywho, I think most people kind of want Gino in there because the only other thing would be Mallow, and honestly, I mean, Nintendo's referenced Gino like once or twice in the Paper Mario series, but that's about it. That character having a costume, that's about all that character deserves. I know. Go to the comments if you're mad about it, but yeah, cry more. Hmm? Anyways, yeah, I take my Smash Brothers a little bit seriously. But now the thing I really, really, really want is I want a release date for Silk Song. I'm interested to see what they'll do with Smash Brothers, and I really want to be able to pick up Twilight Princess on the Nintendo Switch. And I'd like them to add Game Boy games. Oh, you know what'd be really great is if they did like we're missing like Rhythm Heaven and the WarioWare series on the Nintendo Switch. Those would be great. Or they could do something completely out of left field, and we get like an Elite Beat Agents game because those were pretty awesome. One thing that I think we will get, and it's probably like April for the U.S., is a U.S. release for Brain Training. It came out in Japan, it came out in Europe last year, like really early last year. We don't have sorry, we don't have a release date here in the United States for it yet, so it's just one of those just kind of sitting there. I would also like to see something for Style Savvy, and I don't think we'll ever get anything for Nintendogs again. I don't know if that ship has sailed or not, but maybe. I mean, Nintendogs and brain training were kind of what saved after the DS Lite came out, and we had we had like that the DS Lite. We had the Mario Kart DS, and then the DS Lite, and those were kind of what kept the Nintendo DS alive. Um, After the release of like the Brain Age series, like the Touch Generations part, that's what really cemented the DS in the American market. The Nintendo Switch doesn't need that. I mean, we did get like a version of Clubhouse Games, and that's fantastic. I mean, if you really want to lose to people online at Yahtzee, that's a great way to do it. um, yeah, but one thing about that is that, well, we're kind of overdue for getting brain age, or rather brain training over here in the U.S. So I suspect we'll see that. So to bring up my synopsis on this, here are the 5 things I expect to see tomorrow, rather later today. I expect to see brain training, an announcement for a Legend of Zelda 35th Anniversary Direct by itself, Twilight Princess, some kind of re-release for Donkey Kong, and maybe a little bit of news on Metroid. The thing I'm most looking forward to, though, would probably be, I really do want a release date for Silksong. I actually haven't finished Hollow Knight because I've been kind of like farming a lot of the little money things that you can get in there. And what I do is I go into an area, get stuck at a boss for a while, and then just keep going back to attack it until I'm done with it. And I'm still, oh man, some of that stuff later on in the game is going to be, yeah, there's so many different endings for that. I'm not going to be able to get all the endings before the second game comes out. But since the second game operates as kind of a prequel / sequel in a way, it'll be, I just want the release for that one. That's one of the ones that, like, and Hollow Knight is one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch and on any system that it's on. So I really do want to see what Team Cherry is up to. Other than that, that's my take on it. I've been rambling on for about 20-something minutes about it. So let me know in the comments below what you think will happen. Hit that thumbs up, that share button, that subscribe button. Ring that little bell so you're notified whenever we have a brand new video here on Area DMG. And until next video comes out, you are now caught up. Morning, Maya.